Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a fantastic day. This is day 6 in a 10-day series. So, if you somehow have missed the first 5 days, do go back and watch those. They are on the YouTube channel. Today, though, we are going to be covering some really good stuff. One of Danny's favorite things in the world to do. We're going to talk about forms and how to build forms and the uses for forms and some of the cool things you can do. And in that, Danny's also going to create a notification autoresponder for you guys, work in the pipelines view and play with the pipelines, create a review sequence, and finally, talk about calendars. So this is a jam-packed day. We have a ton to cover. So I'm going to go ahead and we are going to get started immediately. Danny, to you.
All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm going to go ahead and start by saying that with the forms, what I'm going to build is something very simple. It's going to be a generic contact us form. And then the autoresponder, what we're going to do is very similar to what we did yesterday, is we are going to basically reply to that contact, acknowledging that they fill out the form, and then we're going to notify one of our people, so to speak, like us, that someone filled out the form. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me get my screen shared. Here we are. And we are ready to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the forms area, and that's under contacts, forms right here. Okay. And we are going to create a new form. All right. So this one's going to be really simple, very, very easy to build. This is part of our standard offering in our package because we believe that if we put a form on their website, if we put a chat widget on their website, it's a little bit sticky. So I am all about giving away these little things to get people onto the system and then upcharge them for the ability to SMS. Upcharge them to be able to add a drip sequence after the form, whatever is clever. But I love putting stuff on people's websites that are easy and simple because it's just sticky. All right. So we're just going to build a real simple contact us form. So I'm just going to click and drag. There's our first name, our last name. I'm a big fan of getting phone number and email. Okay. And then what we need to do is we want to be able to give them a place to be able to send us a message. Okay. And that's under the basic area here. And we have a choice. If we wanted to do a short one, it would be this text field, which is not it. It's just one line. I'm going to get rid of it. But the text area is what I want the message to be. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and delete this block, but I could go in here and just edit the text. Right? And just say, contact us. Okay, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to center justify it and hit save. Okay, so now that's there. And then what we want to do is change this block right here. I'm going to hit the gear and we're going to rename it your message. Okay. Now there is one other thing that I like to do is I like to go to this field. I do it whenever I want to put a custom label, which is what this is called. And I just want to rename it contact us. You can call it whatever you want, but this is actually the label, the variable that is used in the system. So I like for it to reflect what this is here. And I'm going to hit save. Okay. And believe it or not, it's actually that easy. I just built a form. It took me longer to explain it than it did for me to build it. Now, I do have a few little cool options here with the submit button. I can go ahead and click on this, and I like to block the button to make it full width. And then I'm just going to go ahead and say, send message. And there we are. Save it. Give it a pretty name. Contact us. We just built our form. Really easy. Now to install it, it's pretty simple. You go, let me move my little phone here. You go to integration instructions. And then this is the URL for the form. In other words, you can use that URL put it into a QR code or whatever, not for a contact us form. Or if it was like a review, leave us a review or just collect a survey or whatever. And you can just use that URL in an email, in a QR code, or in an SMS. But in this case, since we're going to put it on a website, if it's a third-party website, I need the embed code. And I would just copy and send that to the web development team, and they can just insert that wherever they want on the website. Alternatively, if we are going to use this form in the site builder, if the website is hosted in FlowTrack, then what we want to do is you can actually just choose the block in the builder and just slide it over and select that form, and it's going to put it there. It's real easy. Okay. So it's really as simple as that. So now that we've built a form, the next thing we want to do is we want to create a confirmation, an autoresponder. So I'm going to go to automations or flows, depending on your system, and I'm going to hit create flow. Now here, because the action is a form submission, I'm going to go ahead and select the middle one, and then I'm going to select the form that we just built and hit select. First thing I always like to do in a new flow is name it. Hit the hamburger, and we are going to say contact form. There we go. Contact us form. And I like to say what it's going to do. Autoresponder. Save. Now, you'll hear me say it till I'm blue in the face. In almost every flow that I build, and I would even say every flow you build, even if you don't need it, you always have to remember to put your lookup contact. This is so you don't get duplicates in the system. And since I am going to match people probably by their phone number or email, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say if the phone number matches, merge it. And if email matches, merge it. I'm going to make sure that I change this to or, very important, because if it's and, it's going to check that both of them have to match to be considered the same contact. If not, you know, if the phone number is different and the email is the same, it's just going to create a whole new contact, even if they're in the system. So, or I wanted to make sure that if it's any of these, that it is merged with that contact. And I'm going to hit save. All right. So let's put in our first step. Checking the deduplication. Maybe we want to give them a tag, right? So we're going to put a tag in here, and maybe they just put contact us form. So now we're going to give them that tag. All right. And whether they're an existing user or a new user or a new person, we want them to get that tag no matter what. Okay, and now we want to confirm that we got their information and thank them, right? So we can go now to messaging and we can send them an email. And I'm just going to go ahead and put thanks for contacting. And then don't forget this little plus sign are all the different variables in the system. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and just type FlowTrack. Sender name. You know, we can still use variables, but I'm just going to go ahead and put my name just for the sake of time. Sender email. Let's say it is Danny@flowtrack.co. And then this question here is set the contact owner as the sender. So that's going to basically assign it. All right. And then we are sending it to the contact email that they provided. We do have some advanced features if we want to CC somebody. Pretty cool, right? And then I'm going to turn that off. And then you want to declare if it's a marketing email or not. And since this is not, they're asking for information, you know, I'm going to leave it off, but you could turn it on. And really the main difference is that it's going to be CAN spam compliant, where it's going to put the, you know, the address and everything under there to be compliant. And then I'm going to hit edit email. And this would be our message saying thanks. Okay. We have the ability to do some editing and so forth. And then we have our merge fields. So we can say, hey, thanks for reaching out, Danny, or whatever. And there's our email. Save it. And because I haven't connected it, it's giving me that warning. But if you did everything we did in the prior videos where you connected your email or have a properly set up inbox for email, you wouldn't have got that warning. Okay, so now I'm going to connect it. And then you could do the same thing for an SMS or an MMS, right? Because I don't have the 10DLC, we're still waiting for the carrier from a few days ago to approve it. It won't let me save it, so I'm not going to put it, but you guys know how to send an SMS. All right, and then maybe what I'm going to do is I'll send another email to myself or to the staff or whatever, and then we could put new contact us submission. Sender name could be, I would put the name of the system, FlowTrack. You know, and we're real big about this. You know, it's really important that when it comes for client retention, you want to claim credit for everything that you bring, right? So whenever I send a notification for a chat, whenever I send a notification for someone filling out a form or claiming a discount or anything that I want the customer to know that the system works, I make sure that I name the software. The name of the software is the sender name. So I may put FlowTrack notifications, right? Or whatever. If your software is named lead sender, I would put lead sender there, right? And then you know the deal. Sender email address, it may be your support, it could be your email, whatever's clever. Put your message. But don't forget that you're probably going to want to put the variables. In fact, I do want to show that. In fact, yeah, you know what? I do. We have a new submission. I may say contact us so they know what form, because maybe we have multiple forms. I'm going to put name, insert merge field, contact, first name and last name. So it's going to put whoever filled it out. I may put phone, same thing, contact, and I am looking for phone. I'm just going to type it here. Okay, next line, I may put email, insert merge field, type in email. There we are. And then I want to put the message. So we're going to put their message. Enter. And remember how I told you to rename that field? So I am going to go with the form contact us. And these are the fields that I have here. Your message. That was the name of it. So now whatever they put in that text area is going to be part of the email. And I save it. Okay, sender email. We'll put Danny@flowtrack.co. Save. Yes, I'm aware. And that's how we build a sequence to do a notification and also to thank the customer. Now, we can take it a step further and make it a long drip sequence, but I prefer to keep it simple because the idea is that our people are going to be in contact with them, right? So the next thing I want to show you is maybe we want to add them to a pipeline. I think that's a great idea. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this. Publish it, and I'm going to go to pipelines, and I am going to create a new pipeline just for new leads. Okay, so I'm going to hit the plus, and I'm going to put lead flow or new leads. Let's do that. We're going to leave it a task, and then who do we want to share it? Brand new feature, never seen it in the other softwares, and I actually told it to one of our customers today, and they can't wait. We're in the process of migrating them because they had a use case to where they only wanted certain salesmen to only see their pipeline and not everybody. So a real good use case with this new feature. And we're going to keep it public. And here is our new pipeline. I'm going to go ahead and rename it, new leads. And then I'm going to go over here and maybe put hot lead. And we'll just go ahead and get rid of this. We're going to keep it simple, but you can obviously put as many as you want. All right. So now let's go back to our automation that we just built. And what we're going to do is under all this, we're going to add another step. Okay. So under CRM, we have create pipeline item. And I'm going to hover it right over here. And we're going to put them in the new leads, the one we just created. Who should this be assigned to? And we have some options. We can put the contact owner, but let's just assume we're going to give it a static person. Like I'm a user in here, Lisa's a user in this demo account, and I'm going to assign it to me. And then the name is the name of the opportunity. This is a great place to go ahead and use the merge field. And I'm going to make the contact card the opportunity, first name, last name. And then I'm going to go ahead and put their phone number. Contact, phone. You can put their company name if you're doing B2B, whatever makes sense. We're going to leave it open. Everything looks good. We can give it a follow-up tag or general, whatever you prefer. We can put a due date and so forth. And maybe we want to put the new ones, make them red so they're more important. Okay. And then the description, we can put submitted a contact us form from the sales page. And like maybe you're in real estate. Maybe the form has information about an address. You can put whatever data you collected off of the form in here. And you could see that I have the link, the form, the same data field. So I can even put the message in here. So let's do that. I just broke it. Hold on. There we go. Their message. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. Click and drag over it. You see how it's highlighted? It means it's going to insert it there. If in doubt, you can move it to make sure the lines move with it. And now we're going to basically submit that form. Let's test it. I'm going to save it, publish it. Now let me go to that form and we're going to go ahead and fill it out. All right. And here's the link. Copy. And we are going to pretend this is on a website, but we are going to put Dan Test. We're going to put in a phone number. We're going to put in an email. Then I'm going to say, I am interested in your services. Please contact me. We hit submit. It's been submitted. Okay. And then what happens is that I'm going to have an email in my box. So the submission came in. It's checking to see if I'm a new user, whether to merge me. So let's go look to make sure I'm there. And let me make sure that I have the tags turned off. Yep. There we go. You can see I got my tag. So it's working pretty good. We can even go in here and see the form that I just filled out. Look at how cool this is. I can see every form. This to me is a great way to organize information. Okay. And notice that I can't go in there and mess it up under there, but there's my info. There it is. Now, if I did want to edit some info, I can just hit the pencil and I can make any changes I want. But one of the things that I like is that this message is now stored forever. If that person or me were to go back in and resubmit that form, it would have 2 entries. So I have a perfect log of every form submission. Okay. So that's there. And then we can even see that I went through the flow. And of course, those emails didn't work because remember, I hadn't set it up yet because this is just a test account. Added the tag. And if we go to pipelines, look at that. There's my name. There's the phone number from the merge field. And then I can just click on it. There's the description, what I just put. It's all there. I can make notes. I can see a lot of the same stuff from the contact card. I can send them an SMS. And if my calendar had been set up, which I'm in the middle of setting up or we could do that later, it would have the book an appointment. I mean, it's just really, really, really powerful. It's easy to use. You just got to get in there and build one. That's why I wanted you guys to see a good example of a contact us form. Okay. And a use of the pipeline. All right. And I know that one of the new features that's on deck is the ability to create other triggers based on more rules in the pipeline and stuff like that. So I can't wait for that. All right. Now, the next thing that I want to do is a real popular service is the review sequence, right? And I'll be honest, I really like the fact that it's not forced upon me here. You know, one of the things that frustrated me with my old system is that I couldn't upcharge for the review sequence over my base package. Let me explain. Because in software that uses a standard app from the App Store, in there was a button to send a review. So I had to offer it as a service because I couldn't take it out. Here, I prefer the control of being able to create a review sequence. Okay, so the first question of doing that is we need to figure out how we're going to get people into the system. How are we going to trigger this review sequence? Okay, I like one of two ways. Okay, the way that I do it where people can review or trigger a review sequence is to build a form. So let's do that real quick. We're going to build another form. So we're going to go to form and we are going to create a new form. So we are going to rename this ask for a review. Now, the way that I instruct our clients to do it in our system is I basically build this form and then I give it to the customer for them to bookmark it. You know, if they're ringing up a customer, they can open up a browser or leave a browser open and then just click the bookmark and bring up this form. That's why I like how the forms have dedicated URLs. So all they're going to do is say, hey, a customer comes in. Were you happy with our service? Yes. Would you do me a favor? Sure. Would you be so kind if I text you a link or email you a link or whatever we do here? Would you leave us a review? And I'm going to say that is the most powerful way to get reviews. You just have to ask nicely, you know? So we are going to put ask for a review. So this is the form that our customers, the business owners, are going to fill out on behalf of the customer just to trigger the sequence. So depending on what you want, you may just want the first name. And if you're going to send it via, you know what? I want all the information. I may not require it just for the sake of time. So let me just require the first name. I'm on the last name now. And under validation, I'm going to uncheck this and you're going to see the little red asterisk here goes away. So now if that's blank, no big deal. And then let's get their phone number because I do everything via text because it just works so much better. Okay. So we are requiring that. And that's really it. I like the block button. I'm going to rename this send review link. Okay, we're going to save it. And then what we're going to do is we are going to save it, name it, review link, submit. Save. We should get our link here. There's our form. And we're going to need that for the automation. I'm going to copy it now. And now let's go build our sequence. So we are going to go to automations, create a flow. This one is also going to be triggered off of form submission. We're going to select review link submit. And now we're going to do the same thing. Look up contact, phone, save. And then remember, I don't have a phone number, but I'm going to build it so you can see it. I'm going to put an SMS in here. We're going to send it to the contact phone. Let's pretend my number is there, even though I can't do it yet. And then what we're going to do is we are going to Google, and I'm just going to choose a business here. So let's just say McDonald's. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Go to the map pack. And depending on what you want to do, there are some free tools. You want to get the URL to leave a review. Now, an easy way, the way that I like to get this link is I just go into my Google My Business. You manage it. You can get the link in the profile. All right. And I'm not going to go too deep and show you all that stuff, but you can go in there, choose your business, get the profile. There are tools where you can do a search for like a plugin. I can't think of the one I used to use, but the main idea is that you want to find that Google My Business listing. Let me just do that McDonald's again. And I think there's a button in there. I haven't done this in a while, so you guys have to excuse me. McDonald's. Let's just see. Let's just choose one here. And either there are the reviews, write a review. And I'm just curious. I'm just going to grab this and see if it works. Always test your links. Yeah, there's a way to get that link, and I don't want to waste too much more time on it. But you could just do a search, get Google review link, right? And you'll be able to find one. I'll see if I can find it, and I'll put it in the Facebook group. All right. And now let's pretend this is the link just for right now. I'm going to copy it. And then I would say, hi. First name. Would you please leave us a review here? Let's just say, would you please leave? It would mean the world to us. Here is the link. Okay, and I'm going to paste this really long one. Oh, I didn't copy it. Let's just put google.com/review, and let's pretend that's the link to review. But what's cool about the system is that what we can do is we can go up here, since we typed in the full URL, and I'm gonna put in the HTTPS here. And when you go to settings, it'll actually take that long URL string. If you pull this down, and if you have a URL set up, if you've already connected your domain, it'll be the domain that you put here, and it'll put the person's first name in the link. So in this case, let's say this is a FlowTrack URL shortener, like we're FlowTrack. We're the actual business that managed this white label account, or it would be your business. And we connected my.flowtrack.com. It would be my.flowtrack.com. Then it would put the person's name that we're asking the review, so they're more likely to click on it, and then a random string at the end. So it's really, really likely that they're going to click on it. It's going to feel very personalized for that person. Now, it's not going to let me save it because I don't have a phone number. But really, to create a simple review sequence, all you need to do is have that form, have your customer bookmark it that wants to get more reviews. They fill it out, and you send them the link. That's really all you need. And trust me when I say, in our business, we've done the filtering where we have a landing page with, depending on the number of stars, you go one way or versus the other. And what I really want to stress to you guys is you will get better results if all you do is just flat out ask for a review with a link directly where to do it. You might even get twice as many reviews. And, you know, people think, oh, well, if they put no, I don't want to take them there. I'm going to be honest. The people that leave me bad reviews in our brick and mortar business aren't getting the link from us. They're angry because they were a pain to begin with. And the first thing they do is leave a review. And whether I put a page in front of them or not isn't going to stop anybody. So I want to be very clear that our way of doing it is the most effective, and it's also the least amount of work. Okay, so we just send them the link, and that's that. right? So I'm going to go ahead and pretend that the SMS was there, and then we would just terminate it. It would go to the SMS. This would go to the SMS, and the SMS would go here. And of course, you can add tags and everything else like that, and you can make it a more complicated sequence. So that's one way to get them into the system for a review. The next way is maybe they're in the system, or maybe they're on the phone app, right? So how do I recommend? Let's say I'm in my system right now and I want to ask for a review. Let's go back to Dan test. What I would like to do is to be able to add a tag. Okay. So there's multiple ways of adding tags, but let's say we wanted to get we have a huge list. We could select everybody on the list, add a tag, and let's just pretend it is review or request review. Let's do that. That way we don't keep on asking the same people. Okay, so I just added that tag, and if I had an automation to fire off that request review, all 5 of these people would be getting in that sequence. So now let's go program that. So I'm going to go back to my automation, and we can do it one of 2 ways. We can duplicate this and do the same thing, or I'm lazy. Let's add another trigger. So we are going to look for tag, select tag added, and we are going to put request review. So now, whether they fill out the form or the tag is added on the PWA app, anywhere in the system, it'll ask for a review. Likewise, you can be in a long other sequence. Maybe you have another automation where people are going through the buyer's journey, and at the last step in whatever automation, you can just say, add a tag, and then that tag will fire this review sequence. Okay. And I think now's a good point to see if we have any questions before we get into calendars. Let's see what we got. All right. I think everybody's taking a nap on me over there. Let's see here. There she is. Could you demonstrate how to add a date of birth field into a flow? I think you're talking about maybe the forms, how to be able to collect that data. Sure. Okay, so I'm going to show you how you what first you need to do is look to see what kind of merge field is used, right? And I cheat. There might be an easier way, but what I do is I go into, let's just pretend we're sending an email, and I will look at these fields, right? And when I go to the contact, I am looking for maybe date of birth. See if DOB answers. Nope. Birth. Oh, there's going to be one under here. Day of birth. Okay. So what I'm looking at is this DOB. That's how I know how data is assigned to it. And I am going to copy this, anything after that period. And then I'm going to go to the form builder. Let's go into the review us, even though we wouldn't be asking for date of birth there. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a generic text field and I'm going to edit it. And then remember the field over here, this is what the database uses. So what I just copied, the DOB, I just put it there. So now I save it. Oh, let me go ahead and rename it. But what really makes it work, guys, is the fact that this matches the same variable that was in that merge field. Okay. So now when I save it, whenever they fill out date of birth, it will populate in the contact with that info. Okay. And let's see if we have anything else. Thank you, who's ever helping me. Regarding deduplication, if 2 people have the same phone number, like in your sibling example with one of your clients on your previous live, which one would it merge the contact with? Well, I don't know the answer if you're doing it wrong, but I can tell you how to do it right. And let me explain by that. Let me repaint the scenario. Let's pretend we're running a karate studio or a daycare, right? Well, we want to track the child. The child is where we want to know about Danny and we want to know about David, right? Well, the parent may be the phone number, right? So how do we not create a situation where, let's say, someone's filling out a form where it overwrites the wrong person? And that goes down to the fundamental aspect of why the lookup contact is so powerful. In my old system, I had no choice. If it was the phone number or email match, whether it's one person or two people, it was going to overwrite one of them, if not both of them. Okay, and that's not the desired effect. While as over here, let's pretend that we have, my mom's name is Judy. Well, Judy has a phone number for both of her children, Danny and David. She's the contact. So what I want to do is, let's pretend she fills out a form for me. Well, she would fill out the form saying Danny as the first name, but she would put her phone number. You with me so far? Alternatively, if she was filling it out for David, she would be putting the first name as David with her phone number. And you see that if the phone number is how contacts are matched and only that, how that could be a problem. This is how we solve it. And this is the only place I've been able to see it. So what we're going to do, remember, I set this up just to check to see if it's a phone number, right? If we programmed it just like this, if my mom filled out a form for Danny or David, it's going to cause problems because it's going to see that phone number for two different people. And just we're going to add a, and in this case, we're going to put first name or first name, last name. It's whatever you want. So I'm going to put first name. Right? So this is where it gets important. Remember, we have an and or statement. Are both of these true? That's considered a match. Or are any of these true? Is that considered a match? Well, because that phone number can be in Danny's contact and David's contact, I want to make sure that it is and. So it's going to find the number, but it's also going to be, in this case, searching for the first name. So when my mom goes and fills out a form that says Danny with her phone number, it's going to check for Danny and that phone number and match that fill with that contact. Alternatively, if she did it with David, it would look for David with that phone number and match that contact. So we can create any variety of rules, you know, like if you were taking in the employment world, in HR, you may match people by social security number and not their phone number and email, or all three, or whatever. We have that control with this block. And I'm telling you right now that you don't realize you need it until you do. And a perfect example is if a parent has multiple kids. Another example may be, if you're in real estate, you can create an opportunity card based on properties instead of people's names. You don't want it overriding everything because of the phone number. You want control. And that's an excellent question. I cannot drive that home enough that is an extremely powerful way to keep your data clean and accurate. And let's see what else we got. Can the form link that we ask the customer to bookmark, the URL, be branded to our domain or company name? In the case the business owner wants to text that to a customer. So the short answer is yes. Now, I will point out that when you are logged into your white label account, and this is for white label people, the URL starts with your white label domain, okay, when you grab it from the forms. But at the sub account level, or when you're talking about being able to brand it to the sub account or anything for the shortener allows you to use any connected domain. Okay. So when you go through the process of setting up a customer, let me exit out of here. If you want to give them a branded domain, what you're going to do is you're going to go to websites, and you're going to go to connected domains, and you're going to add their domain. Now, I recommend that you create a subdomain just for this purpose, because they may have hosting somewhere else, just trust me on this. Just keep your URL shortener, maybe link.customerdomain.com. And then you go through the process and the settings that FlowTrack gives you, you put it into their DNS settings where they control their website. And now we have a domain that matches the customer. And once this is properly connected, when you go into the automation builder, this is how you can brand any URL that you're sending to them with that shortener. Remember when I was showing you the SMS and the email, or actually in the SMS especially, when we send an SMS, you would put the URL of the form in here or the website, anyurl.com, right? Now, it would send that exact URL if we didn't do anything else. But this is how we brand it. We want to go to settings, and here we can select what URL. And all the connected domains where we were just at in the websites will show up here. And you can select that domain, and that domain will carry the same URL that you just connected with the first name, which is really, really great for conversions. And what also is cool is maybe you're sending, I'm going to take a little step out, maybe you're sending a link through a discount page. Well, you can make that URL actually expire if you turn on this feature, this shortener. And we could say, you know what, I only want this link to go to that form for 2 days. And then after the 2 days, go somewhere else. And we can put coupon or specials are not good anymore, whatever page. You know, it expired. We'll put expired page. Let's pretend we have a page just for expired deals. And it's just basically, sorry, you know, you missed it. But the point is that URL that I put in the SMS gets converted to any domain we want as long as we have successfully connected it. And then we have the added feature of being able to say, you know what, we can put a timer where as long as they're within the timer, it goes to where it's supposed to, but then we can redirect them anywhere else after that point. Really cool stuff. All right. What else do we have? Makes perfect sense. I'm glad. That means I did my job because, you know, it can be a little overwhelming at first, but the truth is once you get it, once you've had enough to practice with it and play with it, the sky's the limit. All right. Regarding the date of birth question, is there a way to receive the date in a calendar format? And to be honest with you, Marcelo, I have not done anything other than the predefined thing, and I would defer that to someone more knowledgeable than myself. And that would probably be Mike. Let's see what else we got. And there is Lisa.
That's all we have for right now, Danny.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
That's all we have for right now. So if you want to go over the calendar.
Let's do it. All right. So let's go over the calendars. Brand new FlowTrack feature. And when you go in here, the first thing it wants you to do is to connect a calendar. Kind of makes sense. And I want to take a moment to say that one of the things that I really appreciate that FlowTrack did in their planning is that they basically don't keep a separate database of your appointments. Let me explain. If all your appointments that were booked here lived here, what happens if that connection is severed? It'll basically not check for conflicts. I've seen some problems with that. So by connecting here, all the appointments that FlowTrack books with our widget here, they only get stored in the calendar. So it prevents a lot of conflicts. You know, until you've had a problem, you don't appreciate it, but I appreciate it. But that being said, the first thing we have to do is we have to say, where are these going to live? So we're going to go ahead and connect. And you have a choice between a Google account or a Microsoft account. I'm a Google guy, even though I do have a Microsoft account. So the easy thing is just to connect it. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in, allow, and it's just like that. It is now pulling in all of my appointments and everything. And I'm going to give it a second. And now that it's connected, we're live, and it's pulling in all my sub calendars. And just so you guys know, if you're not using Google or Microsoft, there is a way, even though you'll have to go to Google Support Docs in Google, to pull in that feed into a free Gmail account. And then by connecting that free Gmail account here, you could still book appointments. There's a few steps you got to do, but ideally just hopefully you have a Google account, because that's what I have. All right. So now let's go ahead and run through this real quick. Let's go to settings. And when I go back in, these are different calendars. I have other calendars for my other businesses. I want to make sure that it is checking these calendars to make sure there's not conflicts, right? Because I have appointments with all of our other brands. Okay. If I just had this one on and these weren't there, then it would just be checking that one and it could double book me. But since these are my calendars, I'm going to turn them on, and then I get to choose if it's visible to other team members. That's what these eyes are for. Okay. If you have that off, they could still see you're not available, but they won't see the details of the event, which is really cool. All right. So we're going to go ahead, and I like those settings, so we can close it. And then we have our settings for event statuses. We're going to save high, real detailed training for specific use cases for another time. But one of the cool things that the FlowTrack team had foresight to do is, when I was building in my old system, I had to generate a lot of my own emails. And we have some system generated emails here that we have control over, which I think is very, very important. And if you wanted to go in and edit one of these emails, you can do that. And so forth. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this. Let's go ahead and get out. Let's go ahead and move on. So we have our notification emails, which can be triggered by system events. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is go back to the main screen. These are the bookers are the name for the different calendars. They're bookers. Okay. So we're going to go to the booker. It created one for me by default. And by default, it's already configured, but I want to make some changes. Okay. This is going to be the name of the booker. This does show on the calendar embed, and then you can put a short description, and let me show you where that lives. Okay. So you can see the Meet with Daniel, and you can adjust the color. No big deal. Now, this is something I truly appreciate. There's a lot of URLs you can use if you haven't connected anything. So you really don't even need to connect a URL. But remember, when we first set up our white label system, we created a domain, flowtracktraining.com, and that's where people log in and so forth if they were customers of ours. But what's cool is I can go ahead and select it. Any domain that I have connected can technically be the root domain for any of my calendars. And then I can edit the name, right? And if it's available, it'll let you keep it. All right. Let me go ahead and save it. And when I go back in, you can see I can copy this link. I can get the embed code. If, let's say, I wanted to put it on a WordPress or a Wix website on a third party, you can embed that widget no different than a form. Okay. And then what also is really cool is that you can actually go in here and make edits to your widget. Like, for example, like one of our primary colors for Agency Remix is orange and black. So we can click on it, go to the color palette, and then these are the different items. And let's go ahead. I don't know which one it's going to be. Let's just choose one of these. And there it is. Now my widget matches Agency Remix color scheme. I used to have to hire a developer to create some CSS for me because I am not a CSS guru. Lisa is. I'm not. Where I had to spend some money to customize my widget, and we have it built in right here. Okay. Now I'm just going to exit out. I'm not going to save it. But I like that level of control. Okay. And we can also put our image in there. I'm just going to, Let me see if I have anything. I'm not going to worry about it. But if I could put my logo here, I can put my headshot here, and then that does show up on the widget. And then I can control the size of that image on the widget. Okay. All right, moving on. Meeting event options. So we can create multiple lengths of events. Okay, so maybe I want to add an hour long. So let's put one. 60 minutes. The meeting length is going to be 60 minutes. And then we're going to have it start every 30 minutes. And that increment means if I do it every 30 minutes, they can book at 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30. If I left that at 60, it would be 8, 9, 10. If I did it 15 minutes increments, it would be 8, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, 9 o'clock. I like the 30s. All right. And then we can go ahead and edit all of these, right? And what's cool about it is that the Booker page has a master URL, right? So when I go to it, I have a choice like this to be able to choose one of these, right? So the Booker itself has a URL with 3 different kinds of appointments. And then what I was showing you here is that I can just grab and pre-select one of those types of appointments. It has its own URL. Pretty cool. Mike? You want to add something?
Indeed. No, I just wanted to point out that fake busy feature on there because I know a lot of people are messaging me how much they love that. I thought that was cool. So you got the fake busy. So fake it until you make it. You know, you don't want your calendar to appear like you're available 100% of the time if you're a new agency, right? So go in there, plug in a fake busy. It's going to randomly knock out some slots on the calendar there for you, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, real cool. You know, I mean, I used to want to appear busier, but now I have the luxury of just having way too much work. So I would have loved this feature about a year ago, but I'll tell you what, it was one of my favorite things in the very first calendar I got when I first got started, because I didn't like people just jumping in and seeing they could book with me anytime. I didn't look important. And so by you guys putting that in there, I love the randomness of it. It makes people see you as in demand. So good call. Mm-hmm. Good call.
Yep.
You know, and that goes along with being able to control these calendars with different dates and times. So each calendar can have different availability, right? And moving quickly, and interrupt me as much as you want, Mike, because I may forget something. You know, we have a buffer event time, okay? And this ensures the first buffer is in case, like, let's say you don't want to have back-to-back meetings. You want to have a 30-minute break between each appointment. That's how you do it. Okay. Let's say that you know, you don't want someone booking on the same day just because of availability. Let's say I only want people to be able to book 2 days in advance. This is where we do that. So now the first available appointment has to be at least 2 days from now. Okay. And then the after event buffer is just another way of doing the before, but maybe you want a 30-minute after. And the reason why the before and after is separate, guys, is because Mike listened to the suggestions from the community, because there were some use cases where people were like, well, so I want an appointment to where I have to drive to a customer. So what they may do, maybe it's from their office or not, they may put a 30 to 60 minute buffer so that they have an hour to get there and an hour to get back. That's how powerful this is. Okay. And I know one thing that I'd like to see that you know, I'm sure Mike may have already thought of is that sometimes I only want people to be able to book 2 weeks into the future, because I don't want people to book. I don't know what I'm doing in 2 weeks. Maybe I'm going to go on vacation. I don't know it yet. The way we can handle that now, guys, at least, I mean, you can go in and just block your Google Calendar. It's not the solution, but you know, I mean, it's kind of a workaround. But I know that they're adding features here every day, and I'll be honest, it's already my favorite calendar software. You know, in my last software, I didn't use the last software. I literally paid a third party just because the powerful features they had. And to be honest with you, I think they're here. I'm really happy with how this came out. Okay. And then the meeting invite settings are the last thing. This is what gets populated in the calendar. In other words, when you log into your Google or your Microsoft calendar, it's going to use this as the title and then the description under it. And then you get to choose your time zone. Don't forget this, big deal, right? And we are right there. That's my time zone. And then you get to choose the location. All right. Now, those of you that know me know I'm a big Google Meet fan. I like it more than Zoom myself, only because it's just easier for me to use. And so by using the Google native Google Meet, it'll pull the link from Google and give it to them. If you're using a Zoom, you can put the details, you can get your static Zoom link and either put it into custom or put it in the description or both. All right. And then maybe sometimes you have calendars that are done over the phone. Sometimes they're in person. And what's cool about putting things here in the location is that at least in the Google Calendar, if you put an address in there, the Google Calendar defaults whatever's in here to work in Maps. So if you put an address, there's a good chance that it'll automatically, when they click it in their Google Calendar, it'll open up their navigation app and take them there. So it's just really, really cool. And let me see. I know there's one other thing I wanted to cover. And yes, I'm trying to remember. Trying to remember where it was, where I can do the groups, Mike. And the team calendar, I think it's under bookers, isn't it? Let's just create a new one. I know I lost it last time. I think it's on this screen. In person. You know what? I'm going to cheat. Where is my calendar? Need all improvements. Oh, that reminds me. I like that we can need things to be approved in our calendar. I know I just jumped around there. We get some controls. I have not played with this, guys, but I think it's really cool that we can go ahead and do reminders via the templates in the email template builder right here. So there's just a lot of cool functionality built in. And with that, I'd like to invite Lisa and back in and see what else we have here.
Yeah, we have some questions, Danny.
I'll do my best.
I'm going to start with calendar questions because we're talking about calendar.
Right.
So when you have it scheduled to book appointments, can you have it choose who to book with based on a rotation?
Oh, yes, I believe so. That's what I'm struggling right now because I always lose it and then I find it by accident. Oh, you know why I can't do it? Now I know why. It's because I'm the only calendar booked up here. So let me go to one that Lisa and I have because we do have a group calendar. And Lisa and I have both connected it. And you could see, let's create a new booker. Now I know why I was struggling there. All right. And let's add Lisa. Okay. Or let's add one of my other calendars. Now that's what I was struggling with. I can choose whether it's going to be a random, meaning where it does like a round robin. I can't pretend that I know the exact rules of how they choose which is which, but I believe it's a round robin, but don't hold my feet to that fire. But it will check the availability of both of these calendars and assign to one of them, So if one of them's available, it'll show available. Obviously, they're both going to get it. If they're both available, I'm not exactly sure how that works, but you can have multiple people getting appointments out of one calendar. A team is where they both have to be available. Lisa and I do use this. So what that means is it's going to check to make sure Lisa has the open spot before it makes it available. And I have an open spot before it's available. Okay. And then a group session is great if you're going to be doing something like a a webinar or whatever, where you may say, I want to have this link people can book, and you can have different time slots and allow, say, 10 people, 10 guests to book that appointment. So you can allow more than one person with this setting into one appointment.
And that's really great if somebody was doing classes or if somebody was doing sessions where, you know, they want to limit the number of people in those sessions.
Okay.
Okay, we've got another question. Are there options for meeting longer than 3 hours?
Great question. I've never met for anything longer than that. So I'm going to go ahead and say that if that's what you saw as the max, that is the max. But I am pretty sure I've heard in other trainings that I've attended, like you guys, where they are extending that. But I don't want to speak for the team, but my memory tells me that they are working on opening that up more.
Okay, Ari, the calendar, can you specify multiple available time frames per day? Say 9 to 12, take a break, then 3 to 5.
Absolutely. Marcelo, this is how we do it. So over here on the right where we get to select our business hours, there's another plus sign. So let's say today, Monday, let me edit this. Let's do this 9 to 12, like you said. Actually, I'm going to get out of my calendar. We're not messing with our stuff. So let me go back. And we are going to change this to 9 to 12, right? 12 p.m. looks good. And then we're going to add another one. And then we can do 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Make sure you save it. And now we have exactly what you put, 9 to 12 with a 2-hour lunch break and then 2 to 5.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And then just a comment, closed their Calendly, knowing this was coming. I too am leaving Acuity for this, and this is so much nicer and better.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also got +1 to not being able to book appointments on your calendar too far in advance. Yes,
Yep.
sir.
I'm almost positive that's coming, guys. Almost positive. Short of Mike being on here, being able to say yes or no, I'm pretty sure that that's coming up really quickly.
Yeah, and this is something that you're better to put on the roadmap. If there's something y'all want, make sure you put it on the roadmap. So somebody's saying, hey, can we just get a button to default for Zoom 2? If it's not already on the wish list, go add it to the wish list and tell people in the Facebook channel, you put it out there, and I promise you'll start getting upvotes. I think the people, you know, who want the most things, or the most people that want something, that's probably the order they're going to get built in. Okay, next question. How would we handle a recurring board meeting where we want people to confirm if they're attending or not?
So I know that we can create a reoccurring appointment, Robin, having them. I'm going to build this in my head. So what we would do is we would first have a reoccurring appointment. And because I haven't built it, you're going to have to forgive me. I'm going to struggle here for a minute. But I know that there is the ability to make an appointment reoccurring. Well, rather than holding everybody up, there is a way to do a reoccurring appointment. And my thinking is, once they book for that reoccurring meeting, then what I would do is then I would basically create an automation that follows the same schedule, asking them to reconfirm. And then if they don't reconfirm, maybe what you do is you just keep on reminding them. And I haven't gotten so deep to check the triggers, but in a perfect world, we would be able to do custom things whether they did or didn't confirm. You know, I'd love to talk with you about that offline.
Just a little kudos for you, Danny. This calendar overview is great. Those are the only questions pertaining to the calendar. We did have one question that I don't think we have time today to cover, but I just want to acknowledge the question. Is there a way to have a page my clients can access their account when they log into the membership site? So that way they can cancel their subscriptions if they want. I don't have specific knowledge on how to do that. I think that's a question better, given to Mike, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so too. But I will say this, if your goal is ultimately to have them cancel their subscription, if they're using the system, they should already be able to log in, right? And if they were to go to their account info and go to billing, they could change the plan themselves. I don't see a cancel
Upgrade or
here.
downgrade is what you're thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I don't see a cancel. But then again, I'm not on a paid account on this one. So there should be a way to be able to do it. But why don't you do this? Why don't you ask the question in the group, Darby, in the Facebook group? And maybe someone can chime in that's smarter than me, or you have me curious, because that's obviously something I'd like to do. But off firsthand, I wouldn't be trying to create a membership site for that, even though there might be a way to do it.
Yeah, and AIO Desktop saying they can cancel their subscription in the My Account section under their account when they're logged in. And
yeah, I thought that was there.
Yeah, he's saying the X next to the name of the package purchase, your mouse waved over it. It might just be adding a little verbiage to let them know the process. I'll add this to it, though. Keep this in mind, depending on what type of service you have, what type of clientele you have. A lot of the reason why it's not easy to cancel is because typically they want a team that can come in and maybe try to salvage the account, save the account, things like that. So it's definitely a choice. All right, I think we're getting to the end of our time, Danny. It is 10 after 3 our time, so about an hour, 10 minutes in. I'm not seeing any more questions.
Great. Well, I know tomorrow's you, Lisa, and I'm happy to hand you that baton.
I bet you are.
What are you going to be covering tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're going to start talking about sites, websites, funnels, etc. And keep in mind, this is a very generic 10 days where we're trying to cover a little everything, tell you guys what's in there, introduce you to the features if you don't know them, and just kind of show you the functionality. So we're not going to go over every single thing. In fact, we're going to kind of hone in just on websites during this particular training, but I do plan on coming back through and during another series or at another time, talking through funnels in great detail. So tomorrow we're going to just get an introduction to sites. I'm going to talk about the settings and the interface quite a bit, and then go into the different website templates and template blocks, talking about the differences between the two, and then also talk about saved blocks and global saved blocks and how you can use those to make reusable items within the system. We'll go over the Flex Builder to some extent, but it is a behemoth. There is a lot to really digest with the Flex Builder. So it's really just going to be an intro. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about assets and images. Probably the single hardest thing when you build a site is having the resources and the assets and the images. So that's what we have tomorrow. And then the next day we'll continue with websites. It's definitely a 2-day type of deal, and we'll talk about that. So hopefully you guys will be here with us. You're excited. Do come join us over in the Facebook group if you're not there already. We answer questions. Other people answer questions. It's really a great community. We have a lot of great people in there. So jump on in there and start really digesting some of that stuff. Ask your questions there. Of course, subscribe to and get the notifications on YouTube. Don't forget to do that. And anywhere else you have FlowTrack, I believe Instagram and maybe Twitter. Don't think on TikTok yet, but
they're everywhere.
But yeah, just go find them, and because different people give different information in different places, and we tend to hang out in all those places to get everything we can. So hopefully we'll see you there. So that's all we have today, everyone. Hopefully you're having a lot of luck and success. If not, hit us up. We're here for you.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Really glad to have you here. And we still have a few more days to go. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.